Welcome to another YouTube live, a live conversation with Conversations One on One, and tonight's special guest is Mr. Matthew Thrice. How you doing this evening?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty
Welcome back.
good. Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah,
Definitely,
thank you.
welcome
Thank
back.
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you coming on with us tonight as always, and just let the people know if you have any events coming up or anything you got going on right now, so they can know.
El Satano on July 22nd. I'll be out at El Satano. It's over in EAV, so East Atlanta Village. Free comedy show. So if you guys want to come out, I know I invited you guys. I also
Mhm.
invited, some other people that might enjoy the show. So if you want to come out to a free show, you don't feel like paying for comedy, you just want to come chill, that's a good one.
Okay.
Um, and I'll just say one other one if this goes a little bit later on the 26th, Jokes and Cheese over at a cheese spot. You'll see the flyer on my page. And last one, if you're in the Charlotte area, Charlotte, North Carolina, on August 14th, I'll be out there. So
Okay.
just
Cool.
look for any flyers I post. That's
Okay,
Okay.
that's about
great.
it. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So tonight we want to have a conversation about black entertainment, black media. I know you have directed by Midwest, you know what I'm saying? So I think
Hmm.
this would be a great conversation to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first
Yeah.
questions that we want to ask you tonight, just to get your opinion, just give us your
Hmm.
opinion and how you feel. There's no right or wrong answer. Like I said, we're just having a conversation.
Just
Okay.
conversation.
So,
Cool.
how do you feel about the way melanated people are portrayed in media today?
Um, I feel like the way that melanated people are portrayed in media today is I think that it's not too much different than what it's always been. Everybody
Hmm.
always kind of has a false perception of what things should be, and there's always a narrative or a programming that they've had for melanated people. And so, whether you see that in music or you see that just in the different roles people play, it seems like it's all directed to make people act in a certain way. Because, like,
Mm.
you see it on TV, and then you want to reenact that. So, you have the gangster rap that came out. I get it. Some people
Hmm.
live a certain lifestyle, and so there's that argument where they'll say, "Well, this is just our lifestyle," but there's also an argument where that's not people's lifestyle,
Yeah.
where it's
Oh yeah.
actually something that they're portraying to make other people want to get involved with that. No different than a minstrel show way back in the day. People put
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
face paint on, the black
I
stuff,
agree.
and then they would, you know what I'm saying, um,
Yeah.
to mimic. Well, they weren't really mimicking. They just were portraying black people in a joking way, or melanated people in a jokingly way that, or not even a joking way. They just were portraying something false of what really was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still kind of the same thing. Maybe not the face paint, but same thing.
Well, the face paint to a certain degree, cause you got some
Yeah.
niggas putting makeup on, looking like clowns out here. Now,
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying, and I can agree 1,000%.
Hmm.
They basically they don't have to use blackface anymore because people will do it. Melanated people will do it they damn self now. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm
Right.
saying? They don't have
Yeah.
to paint a white person black and get them on screen to act ignorant because they do it they damn self now. you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I feel like there's not enough powerful and positive images of us in the media, whether it be music, TV, movies, because it's just a certain thing that's popular. And it
Right.
seemed that ghetto culture is popular now. And I'm like, when the hell did that happen? Because
Right.
I
Right.
remember in the early 90s where, being called ghetto was a insult. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
But now
Yeah.
people, it's like they go out of their way to act ghetto because that's how you are black. That's how black people act or whatever. And if you don't act this way, let's say you talk properly, or you can
Hmm.
articulate yourself very well. Oh, then you
Yeah.
lame. Oh, you a square.
Hmm.
Because I know how to
Yeah.
speak correct English, I'm a square. Now,
Yeah.
I can speak correct English, but I can also talk bankhead, like, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, we're gonna go up the block, we're gonna whoop the whoop, we're gonna do, you know what I'm saying? But there's a time and a place
Hmm.
for everything. And
Yeah.
I think that we as a people, we forget that. And one thing that we always talk about is we don't have a sense of class or integrity. I
Mm-hmm.
say that all the time. Class and integrity. We don't always have to be loud and seen and have all of the attention. Instead of getting the attention for being ghetto and loud, how about you get attention for something that you've accomplished or something that may help other people?
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Back to your point, Matthew. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You want to go ahead?
Um, uh, well, okay. The only thing I was gonna say to that point is, knowledge is key. So, it's a long. I'm gonna shut this door. I had a mosquito come in here.
Oh, you
So if you
good? You
see
good?
me looking around, it's a mosquito. But the only thing is, yeah, knowledge is key. So the even though there's certain images that are portrayed and things like that, it used to be that you want to be knowledgeable and learn
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just a lot of falsehoods, so
Yeah.
they'll
Oh, yeah.
equate gangster with being dumb. But even if you look in the past, gangster wasn't dumb. You could do
Mm.
some so-called gangster, but you're not going to be stupid. You just a lot
Exactly.
of them running the whole business and operation, so they're smart people.
Mm-hmm.
But now what they're trying to do is push away or create the false narrative where you're supposed to be stupid. And what happens is when you don't know certain things, you mentioned something about the people. Dan, I wanted to comment on it. You said that there's people speaking
Yeah.
properly,
Yeah. Yes.
and
That know how to articulate themselves well.
oh, so for example, one thing I was watching, I've seen this documentary from Tariq Nasheed. He did the
Mm-hmm.
Hidden
Hidden
Colors.
colors. Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
know.
he so he talks about that where a lot of the all that what I'm saying, man, and all that
Mm-hmm.
like those colloquialisms come from not
Yeah.
slave owners,
Well.
but like poor whites.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes slave owners, but poor whites would teach the black people how to talk English, and then they wouldn't talk proper English, and then that's where some of that came from, and then so all that twang and all that came from
Yeah.
the poor white people that were teaching English back in the day. So when you know certain information, then you're like, well, you might still want to know some ebonics and stuff, but at the same time, you don't feel as connected to be like, oh, if you know this, then you're this, and if you know that, so it's really just a veil, and the more you know, the better. That's where you can take down that veil, and that's why I think they're trying to keep people from information and knowledge.
Definitely. And I feel like that's why they're making it uncool to learn or be knowledgeable per se. Also,
Hmm.
knowledge is power. And a lot of people don't know that ghetto comes from the Holocaust.
Yeah, Jewish.
Before they started taking them to the actual camps, they housed them in apartments. They took them out of their homes that they owned and where they were living and put them in these apartments, and you can equate them to the projects really. And
Hmm.
but they literally called them ghettos back in the
Hmm.
in the early 1940s and the late 1930s. But
Hmm.
and it's being placed on like poor black communities. They call them ghettos, but like you said, it came from white people. That's where it originally
Right.
came from, and a lot of people don't know
Hmm.
that. They think it's just something that's strictly for us. But on
Right.
another note, are there any things that you try to accomplish as far as portraying positive, uh, portraying black people in a positive light when in your work?
Yeah, I try quite a bit because I come from the black consciousness realm and whatnot. So, me rapping, I was used to rap just kind of whatever, but then did a lot more conscious rap, and then I do some like lecture-ish type things. I
Yeah.
was doing some of that, and so just learning from all these people, I try to put that into my rap, and then that blends into just art in general. So when I do my comedy, same thing. I'm like, let me make something like the show that we were at. Well, it gets really that's the other issue. That's where it gets a little complex because when you know certain information, you can't share all information,
You're right.
and that's
I agree.
just the same. And that's throughout history too. So away from the race side, there's just information that they might call um, like you have to be privy to certain information, so that's
Hmm.
why some people they might be in the clergy or whatever, they know religious information that doesn't get passed down to everybody because
Yeah.
some people might not be able to understand it or receive it the same. So it's a little bit tricky when it comes to certain stuff because I might talk about things. I was going to say at the show that I met you guys at, I was talking about Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's black people, I have to be. It can get tricky because they might not grasp what I'm saying because they
Yeah.
have an emotional tie
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
to her, and because of what's the propaganda they put out there. So that's the other part. Like you said, they put out certain information to where people will kind of think in a hive type mind. So then when you do present people with new information, they're like, oh, this person's they'll have an opinion about you. So I'd say the easiest way to really compare it or to relate it, and I think it was shown really well, is the movie The Matrix.
Oh my
In the
God, that's
movie The
my favorite movie.
Matrix, yeah, so you have these people that know the so-called truth about the Matrix, and they get out of the realm or whatever. Then you have all the other people that are in it. Then you have the agents. So the agents are also aware of that realm, and so they're trying to keep the other people from letting the other people or waking up the other people. And
Yeah.
so what you notice in that movie is every time those people were trying to fight against the agents, those agents could jump into the body of any of those people.
Oh
If
yeah.
that makes sense. So it's kind of the same here, what you're saying with you don't need the blackface anymore. So I could you could say something that's the truth. We'll talk about Spin That. That's a new song that just came out. So if you say I don't like that song Spin That by Young Miami, it's she's putting out bad messaging. Just like the Matrix, people, certain communities or certain populations of people are programmed by this system to be like, no, I support Young Miami no matter what,
No
So
matter
that's
what.
like so that's like the agent in the Matrix jumping into their body to combat you that knows the truth. That's like, no, that's a bad message, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So furthermore, the as far as the Matrix, the so there was Cypher, and you remember he sold out all of his friends or comrades just so that he could live the lie without any memory of the truth. We got them too. Was it
Yeah.
something you were trying to show me on here?
Oh, I was trying to show you how that is kind of going into
I
his
see. I
frame.
got you. I
And
got you.
it's cutting his.
I got you. No problem. So just a quick. Boom. That fixed that right there. But yeah, so you have people that know the truth, but they want to be part of the masses, or they have a sense of belonging so bad that they'll abandon the truth just so that they can belong to something. And a lot of times that something or the crowd is going in the wrong direction.
Right.
I could imagine telling someone when I was going to a predominantly black high school, oh, I don't listen to rap. I don't even do that. Oh, you lame. That's the type of feedback I would get. But you have some people who probably don't like rap, really don't listen to hip hop like that, but
Yeah.
will listen to it around a certain group just so that they can belong, when naturally that's not how they get down. So
Yeah.
we do have the herd mentality, and we have a fear of what other people think about us as well. That plays a large part into it. But yeah, The Matrix is one of my favorite movies overall. But what is your favorite black film?
Favorite black film? I'm gonna have way too many. Um, if I was to name any favorite black film, I would probably say the, and I want to say just Five Heartbeats, just because it's kind of a
Wow.
classic. So seen it so
Wow.
many times, good
Yeah.
music in it, and it kind of shows like a whole arc of people's lives. So it's kind of some humor a little bit in there. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest ones I could think of.
That's one of my favorites too. That's one of my
Okay.
favorites.
I didn't get a chance to get in on that first
Yeah, I was gonna say
conversation
I
that you
wanted to go back,
guys were
but I
talking
didn't.
about. When you were saying he asked you the question of how do you feel about movies and melanated people are portrayed in movies today, and you went into the conversation about blackface and how
Mhm.
black people are portrayed, how they, I feel like they're it's extremely exaggerated, and I feel like
Yeah.
the more the culture is shown as extremely ghetto or extremely hood, it sells more. You know, the more
Yeah.
gangster, the more hood or whatever, it sells more. And it's like blackface because it's
Yeah.
exaggerated.
Yeah. Also to
Hmm.
that point, to what you said earlier, Matthew, the gangsters back in the day, they had on suits and they really was low key. You
Hmm.
know, they damn sure wouldn't be out here making music about the crimes that they commit.
Yeah.
Like that
Right.
would be a no no. But today
Hmm.
is different. When people think gangster now, 9 times out of 10, the first race that comes up is going to be a black person, and
Oh yeah.
it's more than likely going to be uh maybe a dreadhead guy with pants sagging. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's like they switched the image from them being gangster to us being gangster, and the image even looks more fucked up than it was back in the day. You know, and it's
Hmm.
crazy because it's like a lot of us aren't aware of the switcheroo that they pulled on us, you know?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
not only that, a lot of the negative, okay, a lot of the movies, films, TV shows, whatever, that portray us in a negative light are distributed by major film companies and production companies that we don't even own.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree, and I was gonna say too. When you say, because gangster is a broad term, so it's
It's
also
broad.
what people define as gangster, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's cool, so it's like all these terms people can use and promote them, and then that's also goes into how much so vocabulary. So cool has the meaning of cold, what I'm saying. Cool then has the meaning of like being in, what I mean, and all that different stuff. So then you can be defined by the language that you use, the language that um, and what you kind of hold in high regard. So I'll say that to say, when you say gangster, when it shifts to us, there's also, um, I don't even know if I call it gangster, but like the land we're on, it's stolen land, right? So
Yes.
some people would say it's gangster to take land. I don't know if that's really gangster per se, but land was stolen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people might have been um, unalived,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, to get the
Hmm.
land or to get the homes or to get all this different stuff, and then other things happen. Now I don't know if that's so-called gangster, but then when you look at us and our history, when you talk about like Crips and Bloods, for example, stuff like that, a lot of that was in defense. So if you're talking about the American black gangsters, it's in defense to protect neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go back like maybe Africa, that's a different type of gangster, it's more tribal. So I don't know if you would call it gangster. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody gets programmed to want to achieve a certain thing, such as gangsterism, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a broad term where it's like, uh,
How can it
yeah,
be defined?
I want to get this mosquito so
Mosquito.
bad
Oh, I
because
feel you. We
it
don't
bit
want
me
you bumped up
twice.
for your
It bit
events.
me twice. But yeah, so everybody's just, sometimes people will pursue a goal blindly. So they'll just be like,
Yeah,
I
you're
want to
right.
be a gangster because that's what I hear on TV or whatever. So it's how people
What
get programmed.
Donald Trump is the most biggest gangster right now. I
Yeah.
have a question. I have a question for you.
And
Do you
an
think
assaulter. 'Cause he grabs them. He said he wants to grab them, you know what I'm saying?
grab
So,
him by the
but
pussy?
nobody, yeah, yeah,
Everybody forgot that.
yeah.
Do you think Jordan Peele, as a director, make a few movies that caters to melanated people and others by using us, the melanated people, as victims because we relate to the characters? Example: Get Out, Us, and Nope. All those movies, we were portrayed as victims.
You said, does he use melanated people to
Does he
do what?
use to cater? Like, does
Hmm.
he make movies that cater to melanated people and others by using us as victims? Because in those movies, like Get Out, we was victims
Hmm.
as far as the things that was being done to our bodies, trading our conscious for their, for trading our bodies for their consciousness to be placed into our bodies. And as far as us, those people was not wanted in that neighborhood, and they became victims of that neighborhood. All those white people attacking them when they moved into that area. And Nope,
Hmm.
I kind of vaguely remember that one, but I did see that one too. And I know throughout the whole movie they was trying to evade death.
Yeah. So I would say um, that's an interesting viewpoint as far as, I mean, just noticing that as far as us being victims in each one. I guess it just didn't stick out to me. But does he use us as victims to cater to us and then also other people? I would say, I don't know about cater. That's the only thing. So that's a tricky one. So, like for example, having the black people in the movies is attractive, um, and it also is a good look as far as the talent because it's those are good movies. So, but portraying us as victims is an interesting thing, but it can go into that programming again to
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
um so it's kind of like both sides. So it's like a catch 22. So on the one side, programming to show black people as victims. On the other side, it might show I'll put it this way. Um Interracial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever people feel about that, they can feel about that, but it can have its negative effects. Whether they, some arguments might be that they don't know our culture.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, it ain't even got to be black and white. It could be an Asian person and a Latin person.
Yeah.
They might not share the same culture, so they're not going to know the same culture. When it gets tricky with black and white, though, is because it comes from a place of oppression. So where we've
Mm-hmm.
gone through certain things and slavery and all those type of things. So now, if the great granddaughter of like a slave owner or something is trying to date a black person, you notice some trends where it's like a lot of times it's a football player, somebody with the contract. So then it becomes to where it's still uh, conquering, you know. So you take over the
Yeah.
land, and then it's like black people. Then you get they're enslaved, and then they get well. Then there might be the sexual relations, you know, with the slave owner and the wife or whatever. Then you get out of slavery, and then now the affluent people, maybe people that go to college or that um, whatever they're doing, those are the people that might get chosen, and then they end up getting washed out
Mm-hmm.
legacy wise because now the kids, like Michael Jackson, his kids are all white. He don't have black children, so
Mm.
now he's the king of pop, but all his kids are white. So even though all his family's black, and then all of his brothers and stuff, so it's like you can turn a whole family into a whole nother ethnicity
Mm.
by attracting them somehow or another. So I say all that to say, if that is your viewpoint on that, or one of the viewpoints, then when you watch the movie like Get Out, it might be like, dang, you know, the interracial relationship is kind of that could be really dangerous or tricky, you know, because
Mm.
I can
Yeah.
say dangerous because some people get accused of certain things, or um, you know, they just get into different situations, especially when it comes to black and white relations. So long story short, there's some knowledge in it, but then there's also the victimhood, and there could be the victimhood for like who he has to appease. So it could
Yes.
be like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
know I got to put the black people as victims for them to show this movie, but at the same time, I could put some knowledge in there, and you know, put this and that. Now, Nope, I don't know what really. I didn't really get that movie too much. You know, there's always like some little hidden stuff they put in there, but I didn't really get the knowledge in that. And then Us, it was two halves fighting. The only thing is, if you don't really know about how to read the symbology or whatever, I don't think people really gonna get it anyway. So I think it's just two black people, two black halves fighting. It's kind of a good horror movie. I don't really see anything too bad because it's kind of just two black halves fighting.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So, do you
hopefully
think?
that kind of answered that.
Yeah, it
I
was
don't know.
just
It's
a question that
kind
I
of
thought
broad.
of because I know he's a director, and those were some movies that were predominantly black characters, and in all the movies, it was they
Hmm.
were no they were fighting for their lives, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you think that there's more movies and TV shows that portray black people in a positive light, or more black TV shows and movies that portray us in a negative light?
I think there's more negative as of now, like in the last few years, because
Yeah.
people, even I was gonna say independent productions, Probably there's probably a lot of positive, but not really. Not
Yeah.
well, the ones I've seen, a lot of it is still negative. So that's why I'm saying people get programmed. So then they become agents of the same system, and they just put out more negative. Kind of like a rapper. He'll be conscious, and he'll be like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna make it unless I do some gangster rap." So he changes from being
Hmm.
conscious to doing all gangster
Some
stuff.
bullshit.
So he becomes an agent of the system. So back
Yeah.
in the day, though, I would say it was a lot of positive because I think people had more freedom. I know it's still hard, like in the '70s.
Hmm.
Um, like they talked about good times, they wanted to do certain things and the guy wasn't with it, but it was a little bit still more. You just see black people, like even commercials, black
Yeah. Yeah.
families, they got the afro sheen and stuff.
Oh
Now
yeah.
it's again, now it's all interracial. If you see it, you never really see black, like a black person, and
You don't.
feel how you want to feel about it, but I'm just saying you can
No, you're
see that
right.
it's some type of programming when they put in, white family, white family, white family. Then when it's a black person, it's a white counterpart.
It's mixed.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always an interracial
Hmm.
couple, or it's a black guy and an Asian lady and some mixed child or something. So to me, that's kind of a psychological, or like that's warfare because you're trying
It's
to
definitely
show
warfare. Yeah.
you don't want the black race to continue. You want it all to
Yes.
Yeah.
be something else now. You
Yeah,
know.
it was different in the '90s, especially early '90s, because we had shows like the Cosby Show. The father was a doctor and the wife was a lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even Martin, they had professions. Gina and Martin both had professions, and it was a couple that stayed together. It wasn't about having multiple partners and doing all this freak off shit. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
solid monogamous black couples on TV doing positive things, even in
Yeah.
comedy. Because Martin
Right.
was funny as hell, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. They had now Sinead was ghetto. They had some ghetto people on there, Key Lolo and them,
Mm-hmm.
Jerome.
Mm-hmm.
But those were characters. That wasn't what the show was all about. And that's why I
Right.
can respect it to this day. I can respect the Cosby Show to this day. I can respect a lot of other shows. The Jeffersons, that was about us coming up, moving on up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The list goes on. And one of my favorite movies from back in the day is Jason's Lyric, and I'll tell you why. It
Okay.
was a
I
love
don't know if I've
story
seen
that
that one.
showed different. It showed black people going through different things. So you
Mm-hmm.
had Jason. He trying to get his life together, and then you had the brother. He just can't get right. You know what I'm saying? He got some mental instability going on, and maybe more dependent on his brother than anything. And then you
Mm-hmm.
had Lyric, who's trying to leave the bad community and go somewhere where they could have a better opportunity, which was Atlanta in the movie. And
Okay.
you had the gangsters, you had Tretch and his crew, you had the gangsters in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it was so many different dynamics when it came to us. Even the TV shop owner in that movie. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
you saw so many different types of black people in that movie that had different goals, different structure. It was so
Mm-hmm.
diverse that I could appreciate it, and it was a good story.
Was Q-Tip in that movie or no?
No, Q-Tip wasn't in that one. That was Bokeem
Okay.
Woodbine. That was what's the man name who played G Money? Alan Payne, Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, I
And
never
some
watched
other
that.
actors that I'm probably forgetting.
I know they used to show it like on BET
Oh
quite a
yeah,
bit,
oh
but I
yeah.
get that confused. There was some movie I saw with Q-Tip and he was in jail,
That's
and
Prison
I think I
Song.
confused those two.
That's Prison
Okay, I
Song.
remember. I remember I was watching BET and he got kissed by some dude. While he
Oh
was
yeah,
in
that
jail.
was supposed to be
I
his
was like,
friend from
what?
back in the day.
Yeah, he was like, come on, man. He was like, what you think we supposed to do in here? I was like, what? But anyway, I get that confused with Jason's Lyric. I never watched Jason's Lyric either.
Check it out when you
But
get a
that movie
chance.
and that one. So yeah, I have
That's
to
an
check it out.
excellent
That's
movie.
I know it's a classic because they kept playing it. But I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just nothing that we ever watched.
I want to piggyback off of the question he asked you about the movies, black in the movies. Do you think
Hmm.
people of color about positive? Do you think people of color care about positive stories that include melanated people that can shift the culture? Example, we have a black-owned bank that just opened up that Bernice King and some executives found in was it Colorado?
It was somewhere, but she
In
started the
Salt
Black
Lake,
Bank.
yes, and it's called Redemption Bank. That's not being shared or trending on social media. So, do you think that black people even care about positive stories that can actually shift the culture?
I think that Black people do. I think they always did. And I think the issue now, like I said, it's like a warfare thing because people get out of the whole they don't realize. I mean, nothing really ever changed, you know. So they don't. They forget. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, I don't know. People just are in la la land. But
But how
until
can you
something
forget?
happens, and then well, because you got food, water, drugs, weed, alcohol. So you're not thinking, you know, and you're like, this is my white friend, you know, I'm cool, you know. So they're not thinking like that there's still things that are being done, like systemic racism. But
Oh yeah.
the system is what they're seeing on TV. What they're seeing, even if some of those productions about black people, they don't put the two and two together that way, you know. So oh, I say that to say, yeah, I think people always, black people, you know, like the positive imagery. The issue is having people that put that out. So I think the main difference is one thing I will say is like the more affluent or whoever's still professional black people, there's a lot of them. You know, I think the main issue is so for example, you guys have this platform, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there um, and I made a video about it saying you're it is saying that people forget that they're needed now. There's not like you said, Martin Lawrence, there's Will Smith, there's all that. All those people made a decision to let me go do something. Whoever started Def Comedy Jam, Russell
Oh
Simmons
yeah.
and
Russell
them, they
Simmons. Yeah.
came together, said, let's put up a platform because black comedians can't get into the white clubs. So let's make a platform to show these black comedians. Let's make Comic View. Let's make BET. You know what I'm saying? Wayne's Brothers. Like everybody had to make a decision and put money up, and then make also a decision. I want to put this imagery or put this message out. And so I say all that to say, nowadays there's people with money, there's people with um, resources and things like that, but they don't want to. They think somebody else is going to come and do it. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's doing it. So they got
This
to
is
make
what
a
I think.
platform, and they gotta put stuff out there and be like, um, here's some positive imagery. You know.
I think that a lot of these rich black people, there's a clause in their contract that says you
Hmm.
cannot use any of this money to better your community. And this is why I say
Yeah.
that. And that could be absolutely false, but this is why I say that. Because back in the day you had groups like the Black Panther Party, and I talk about them all the time because
Hmm.
they came together and took action and did things for their community without the aid of the government. These weren't no celebrities, these weren't no rappers, actors, none of that, no athletes. They had free breakfast programs for the children. They helped some people pay their rent that couldn't afford it, and they also had like free healthcare clinics, things like that. But you have all these black entertainers that's making millions and millions of dollars. We could have got just two to come together and get programs like that for our communities. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
we don't see that happening. That's why I feel like there's a clause that says you cannot use any of this money to better your community because it was done back in the day with less, even though they infiltrated the Black Panther Party and all that. And that's a different story. But
Hmm.
they was able to do more with less back in the day, but now we have more and doing less.
Yeah, and it's because I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like as far as people forget, you know, it's still kind of I know it's a harsh term to use, but it's kind of warfare. Um, to where if you do something, so two things. Some people, yeah, they I think they do have certain alliances with certain things. Some people go into fraternities. I feel like that has an alliance. You go into a certain business group. All these different groups people join. You know, you have to fall in line with whatever that. You don't have to, but
Yeah.
some people want to fall in line. Some people do that, and so Black Panther Party, all those people. The reason you could do more with less, or really you could do a lot with little right now, but you have to make that decision. So back then, people are a lot more closer to trauma and everything. So, or to the truth and trauma. So they're seeing in real life, like, damn, we can't afford food. Oh, there's segregation, right? You know, segregation was 10 years ago. Let's say it was 1965. My dad was just marching, all these different things. So now you fast forward, it's a lot of like peacetime. So they'll hear about an incident, but it's kind of far. Oh, that's Rodney King was 90 something, and he's all the way in L.A. People still a little bit aggressive, but then they keep going. Now you get to the 2000s, stuff is pretty sweet. You're not really hearing much. But then George Floyd happens. People start to, kind of push
Make some
back.
noise. Yeah.
But now it's everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like a white dude working at AT&T, like, I care for black people, which he doesn't really, but he's putting it on Instagram. You get what I'm saying? And
Oh,
via
yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
So then you have people not wanting to combat certain things. So I was going to say, to my other point too, like if somebody does combat it, let's say they're like, I want to make a black TV network, because BET isn't owned by black people
It's not.
anymore.
It's
from what
not.
I know. Yeah. So let's say they're like, I want to make a black TV network. What can happen is some people will be like, oh, black, why can't it be all people network? Why do you want black? And then they can't articulate that. You know what I'm saying? Or they don't want to articulate because they're like, I don't want to look like a bad guy, because that's a direct threat to the program, and that's a bigger system, which is like white, systemic racism. So now
Yeah.
you're combating technically the government, because if you talk about Black Panthers, the government went after them. So now it's
That's
like
facts.
if they put certain things in place and they're putting programming in place, like, oh, let's pay these rappers to say this, let's pay these people to put out these movies, we want to pay this company to put this imagery out, and then you come out and you say, I want to put out something that's positive, black, whatever. You're going against those people, which I don't feel like there's any issue, but some people just, I think, are scared and they're like, I'm comfortable, I'm getting paid a check, so I'm gonna just chill. Somebody else is
You're
gonna
right.
do it, and it's like there's nobody else is gonna do
No,
it. It's gotta
no,
be
it's
you. You know
it's
what
a
I'm saying?
fear. It's definitely a fear.
Yeah.
I feel like in order to make a change, we should stop supporting black entertainment or businesses that aren't owned by black people, because we're furthering their agenda. You know what I'm saying? Just like you're saying, what record label is a lot of these black rappers that's talking all the negative stuff? Who owns the parent company? I'm not talking about the subsidiary label. I'm talking about the major, because that's where people get tricked. Yeah, Cash Money was it was a black record label, but it was only a subsidiary label under Universal. You see what I'm saying?
Oh
People
yeah, yeah.
forget that point. So
Yeah.
what if we just stop supporting anything that's not owned by us, that's being pushed out toward us?
Then nobody will be on social media.
Exactly.
Unless we get on the black
Yeah.
on platform. And warfare is the right word. Don't stop using that word. It is warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just don't know who's gonna watch. I know you guys get it, but there's some people that I don't know. Sometimes just it could be a black or white agent, and they just be watching and be like, "Warfare? What do you mean by the?" And to be in the comments
Yeah.
and stuff. So I just like, I know it might sound harsh. That's what I'm saying. Some people can receive certain information. Some stuff sounds different to other people, or they'll try to flip it into something different.
Because we're
But I was
under
gonna
mental
say-
warfare right now. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
a mental warfare.
And I was gonna say with that parent company thing too. What did you say? You said there's
Yeah,
there's parent
we
companies
have
and
a
there's the smaller companies underneath.
yeah we have the subsidiary labels or
Oh.
entertainment labels that are black owned, but they still have to answer to the major that's always owned by a person of another race. Always.
Well, this is my thing with that. What I was gonna say, I don't really, and I don't think that it's wrong to I don't know. I'm gonna get my weapon right now because
Okay.
if I see that when I
Oh
see
yeah,
that mosquito,
that mosquito.
yeah, okay. So, I think that there's certain things that I think when it comes to like the black owned businesses and stuff. There's only so many black owned businesses, and I hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, we gotta have more black owned businesses." There's only so many people that can run a business well too, because some
You're right. I agree.
businesses, you go there and it's not good. You just like no.
Yeah.
I want to go back to wherever whatever. But so there's one issue where with business in general, something should be done. I think like with big corporations, some people are just expanding too much. There's got to be a limit on certain things. But when it comes to black versus other non-black businesses, I think that everything should just be redirected. So, like, for example, you can go to school and learn like everybody else. You know, you
Yeah.
can go learn math, science, all that type of stuff. And so instead of building, because I had a thing about this with like Dr. Umar, he was coming out with a school. No offense, no, nothing against him. You should come out with a black school or whatever. But I was like, for the amount of money people donate and do all that, people can go to school and get their regular education. The issue is everything outside of that, if that makes sense. So if you already got a school in place, like we already have schools that we've gone to, right? You can go to school, learn your math, sciences, everything. After school, you can focus on doing an hour of teaching. You know what I'm saying? Teaching the stuff that's not taught in school. So like reprogramming. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, that's
reprogram
good.
because that's what you have to do because it's a lot less money and um a lot less money. Whew, I'm gonna get it. I swear I'm gonna get it. A lot less money. And yeah, you just reprogram. So they're still getting the same education. They're still in tune socially, you know what I mean? Because you're around different people. And then also you get to learn about, okay, where do I come from? And then when you hear stuff that tries to program you, you know, as a kid, you're like, oh, this doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to be this. And I can also identify that this is a program or conditioning being run on me. You know, they're trying to do something to me. And that could take an hour. You could do it 3 times a week or something, you know, Monday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Friday, after school program, to deprogram from whatever black children are getting programmed under. So um, I think that was all you that I was thinking about when you said that, oh, support black owned business. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say, so a lot of people want to do like they're like, yeah, let's not do the we want to have a black owned farms and then black owned everything. Nothing really against it. I feel like if you're interested in that, you should do it. But I also feel like there can be a distraction for some people because it takes a lot to do that. So like if I wanted to open up a store right now and I'm like, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm just saying if people start to say, I'm only going to go to the black owned stores, it's not, they kind of tried to get rid of the mom and pop just across the board, I
Oh
think,
yeah. Yeah. That's
for a
facts.
while
Yeah.
now. So that's why I was saying there's something with the capitalism just in general that needs to get changed. Because like Walmart
Yes.
That's a
shouldn't
huge
be
problem.
like you should be able to open up a grocery. I should be able to open up a grocery store and call it Matthew and whatever. You know what I mean? Matthew Hardware or something, without being out, like not being able to get enough business because Ace Hardware and Walmart and all these other
They
places.
have a
You know?
monopoly or whatever. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So you should have more rules to close that monopoly. But there's black people that are talented in a lot of other spaces. So for example, let's say you two were like, let's open up a store. You have to, that takes up your whole day, you know, takes up your whole week. So you
Oh
can't
yeah.
do stuff like this that you might be able to help in a different type of way. So it's like, it's kind of easier. It might sound a little weird, but it might be easier just to go to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? You can go to the grocery store, get your, because even sourcing the meat, if you want to do black owned that, now you got to have a black butcher. They
Oh
got
yeah.
to be able to know, you know, get up to speed on how to have all these animals and also had a passion to not be like, oh, I'm distracted. You know, they're doom scrolling and stuff. They're not taking care of the
Yeah.
livestock.
Yeah. They have to
You
have the
know what I'm saying?
mindset.
Yeah. So it's like some things you could just repurpose. I go to the store, get my food, do this, whatever, and then I can go do that gives me time to allocate towards other things. Cause in a sense, that's what I'm saying. People forget because we are kind of living well, just having running water back in the
Yeah. Being
1800s. You know,
comfortable.
it's hard.
Yeah.
You can't just go to the store back in the 1800s or whatever. You can't just go online and message somebody. You have to send something by horse or carrier
Yeah.
to somebody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody's kind of living in a good way. But I don't know what the future will look like. You know, got to kind of redirect some things. I think the main thing is just knowledge. You know,
Yeah.
if people
Yeah.
can get knowledge, that's where you can reprogram a lot of stuff. Because even if you buy from a white owned or Asian owned or Latin owned store, you're not thinking, oh, this is my provider. This is my, you know what I'm saying? You're like, this is I'm paying you money. You're doing something for me. It's a service for I'm paying for a service. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, we're not gonna hold too much of your time. We definitely appreciate you coming on, having a conversation with us. We got to do it again, hey, just like we did before. And let everybody know where they can meet you, where they can see you on social media or online.
Okay. I'll say, first off, all of these things I said, don't hold me accountable. CIA and FBI. I was just rambling. I don't even know where this came from. The spirit took over me and started saying all this stuff about black and white. I think black and white people should be able to date and have kids and do whatever they do.
I have a rainbow family, so hey, I have all colors in my family.
See, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Don't come for me. Don't come for us. All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Matthew Thrice Comedy. I also do video and photo. So you can find me at Directed by Midwest. And that's why I kind of collab a lot with those two pages. And that's where you can see most of my events and things I have coming up. Though I talk pretty deep and political right now, a lot of my comedy is kind of silly. So if you want to come out, sometimes I do clean comedy. So if you want to come out to a show, feel free. If you're in an interracial relationship, I won't pick on you. Go ahead and come on out. And we'll have a fun time,
Oh yeah,
and,
definitely,
like I said,
definitely.
You can check out my video photo stuff. Sometimes I put out short films, and I just put out a short film with Elliot. I'm drawing a blank for his last name right now, but we just put out a short film and it's really cool. So go check that out.
What can they find
shout
that
out
film?
to you guys. Oh, it's just right now it's on YouTube. Oh, no, we haven't dropped it on YouTube. It's probably going to be on YouTube by the time this drops. But right now it's just on Instagram. Elliot Young. Yeah, he's the one that wrote it. It's a kind of a dramatic piece and gonna just keep on putting out more and more stuff. So check us out.
Definitely keep putting out more
Directed
and more
by Midwest.
stuff. Definitely keep putting out more and more stuff. And everybody like, share, subscribe. Find Matthew Thrice on social media. Follow him as well. And hey, thanks, Matt, man, for having a conversation with us.
Thank you.
All right, man. You have a good evening, and until next time.
Peace.